The Invisible Daughter's masterpiece. How being overlooked became my superpower, and why my family is still screaming over $12 million. The kitchen was quiet. Too quiet, you know? The kind of silence that feels like a heavy wool blanket draped over everything, muffling the sound of the world outside. I stood there clutching my coffee mug, watching my sister, Chloe, hold court at the center of the granite island. Chloe was the sun, and everyone else? Well, we were just lucky to be in her orbit. At least, that's how my parents, Frank and Diane, saw it. Chloe was the miracle baby. Born 3 months early, she'd spent her first few weeks in a plastic box, fighting for air. I was 4 at the time. I remember being whisked away to my Aunt Bev's house because my existence, my germs, my noise, my very being, was considered a threat to the delicate flower that was my sister. That was the template for our lives. Sneeze once? Pack your bags, kiddo. You're going to Bev's. Get an A on a science project? That's nice, Maya. But can you keep it down? Chloe has a headache. I grew up in the shadows. I was the invisible daughter, the one who did her own laundry at 10, who walked herself to piano lessons, who learned to navigate the world without a safety net because the safety net was busy catching Chloe every time she tripped over her own ego. But here's the thing about being invisible. Nobody watches you. While Chloe was busy failing her 3rd community college course, I was building an empire. While my parents were busy paying off Chloe's credit card debt for the 5th time, I was diversifying my portfolio. I didn't do it for revenge. Okay, maybe a little bit for revenge. But mostly, I did it because I had to. If I didn't look out for Maya, nobody would. And then came that Tuesday. The Tuesday that changed everything day. The Tuesday that changed everything. It wasn't even a big holiday, just a random Tuesday in November. I'd come over for dinner, wearing my uniform, a nondescript gray sweater and jeans. I looked like a middle management accountant, which was fine. That was the goal. So, Maya, my dad said, stabbing a piece of overcooked roast beef, how's that little, research job? It's good, Dad, I said, taking a sip of water. Keeping busy. You should really look into what Chloe's doing, my mom chimed in, beaming at her favorite child. She's starting a lifestyle brand. She's going to be an influencer. Chloe tossed her hair. It's about authentic living, Mom. It's a very high-concept space. I just need a small seed investment, about $50,000. My dad sighed, looking at his bank statement on his phone. We're a bit tight this month, honey. Maybe Maya can chip in. You've been saving, right, Maya? Living in that tiny apartment? I looked at them, really looked at them. They didn't see me. They saw a piggy bank with a pulse. I have a better idea, I said, my voice as cool as a January morning in Maine. I reached into my bag and pulled out my laptop. Let's talk about authentic living. I turned the screen around. The room went dead, silent. The screen didn't show my bank account. It showed the quarterly report for Vanguard Heritage Appraisals, my company, the one that handles the authentication for major auction houses in London, New York, and Hong Kong. Below the logo, in bold black letters, were the numbers. Total liquid assets, $12,400,000. Pending acquisition, $3 million. My mom's fork hit her plate with a clatter that sounded like a gunshot. My dad's mouth hung open, a piece of roast beef still visible. Chloe looked like she'd just swallowed a whole lemon. What is this? My dad stammered. This is the little research job you've been ignoring for 10 years, I said. I don't just research things, Dad. I own the firm that tells the world what things are worth. I'm the person the Smithsonian calls when they find a hidden treasure in the basement. 12 million? Chloe whispered, her eyes wide with a mixture of greed and pure, unadulterated horror. You have $12 million, and you're living in a 1-bedroom in the city? I own the building, Chloe, I said gently. I just like the apartment. It has great light. The explosion happened about 3 seconds later. How could you? My mother screamed, her face turning a shade of purple I'd only seen on bruised plums. We've been struggling. We've been worried about the mortgage, and you're sitting on a fortune? Struggling? I asked, my voice rising for the first time. I've been sending you $4,000 a month anonymously for 3 years. Where do you think that grant from the Heritage Foundation came from? I am the foundation. My dad slammed his fist on the table. That's not the point, Maya. You lied to us. You let us think you were ordinary. I am ordinary, I said. You just thought ordinary meant unsuccessful. You were so busy coddling Chloe, so busy making sure she didn't feel less than, that you completely missed the fact that I was becoming more than. Well, you can make it right now, Chloe said, her voice dripping with that fake, sugary sweetness she used when she wanted a new car. I mean, 12 million? You could easily give me 5 for the brand. It would be a tax write-off for you, right? I looked at my sister, the miracle baby, the one who had everything handed to her on a silver platter while I was told to stay in the shadows. No, I said. The word hung in the air like a heavy weight. No? My mom shrieked. What do you mean no? She's your sister. We're your family. Family supports each other, I said, standing up and closing my laptop with a satisfying thud. Family notices when someone succeeds. Family doesn't send their child away every time she gets a cold. You didn't want a daughter. You wanted a ghost. And now you've got one. I walked toward the door, my heart hammering against my ribs, but my head was clearer than it had ever been. Maya, get back here, my dad yelled. You owe us. We raised you. I paused at the door, looking back one last time. You didn't raise me, Dad. You just provided the room. I raised myself, and it turns out I did a pretty damn good job. As I stepped out into the crisp autumn air, my phone started buzzing. I didn't even look at it. I knew what the messages would say. Selfish, ungrateful, traitor. I got into my car, a vintage Jaguar that my parents thought was a kit car, and drove away. I didn't go back to my apartment. I drove to a park, sat on a bench, and watched the sunset. For the first time in 30 years, I wasn't invisible. The aftermath was, well, it was a circus. Chloe took to TikTok, of course. She made a Storytime video about her evil millionaire sister that got 2 million views. People in the comments were calling me a monster. My mom called Aunt Bev, who called me, crying about family values. I didn't argue. I didn't post a rebuttal. I just called my lawyer. Mark, I said. Those anonymous transfers? Cancel them. All of them. Are you sure, Maya? He asked. That's their whole income. I'm sure, I said. If they want a lifestyle brand, they can start by living their own. It's been 6 months now. I've changed my number. I've moved the headquarters of my firm to a bigger office with better security. I still see Chloe's posts sometimes. She's currently pivoting to a career in spiritual coaching. She's also driving a 10-year-old Honda because the bank repossessed her SUV. My parents? They're praying for me. At least that's what the letters say. The letters that always end with a request for just a small loan to get through the winter. I don't answer, not because I'm cruel, but because I'm finally visible to myself. I realized that the $12 million wasn't the prize. The prize was the strength I built when nobody was looking. The prize was the realization that I didn't need their approval to be whole. I'm Maya, I'm an expert, I'm a CEO, and I'm no longer the invisible daughter. And you know what the best part is? The light in my new office is absolutely spectacular.